Going to record now, and welcome to the Writing Lounge. I'm going to turn it over to the Director of the Office of Career and Professional Development at the University of Redlands, Jim Douceur, who's going to take us through some strategic use of AI tools for career advancement.
Perfect.
Jim?
Thank you, Allison. It's good to see a lot of staff members here, and I can show you some stuff that we're working on. This is going to be super, just informal. Just kind of, I'm going to talk you through some new programs that we have here, new platform. It's really funny. This really ties into SBS because I was connected by the person that we created this with. I don't know if I told you this, Allison, but Johannes was on a chairlift with this person. And my first weekend here, Johannes reaches out to me and we just have a conversation. And then he meets this guy in a chairlift going snowboarding and says, I think you two of you need to talk. So we started talking, and then just through back and forth, this thing called Redlands Tools was created. So I'm going to share my screen here. Here we go. Let's go here. Can you see Google right here? Yep. Okay, good.
Yes.
Um, we're gonna go. What you want to? We're gonna start off with Redlands Tools. Now, if you type in Google right here and you just do Redlands Tools, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna find where to get power tools in the city of Redlands. You don't want that. So make sure that you go up in the actual search bar, Redlands Tools, all one word.com, and it'll bring you to this tool, this AI tool, using the same or similar language model as ChatGPT. The big thing for this is the difference is in ChatGPT, you guide the conversation, and this one, the technology basically takes the driver's seat. So we're gonna go try it out. Now, when you sign up, what's gonna happen is you're gonna sign up, and then you're gonna do your first interaction. It's gonna kick you out, which is fine. Then you verify your email and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna start with one tool here, the Career Path Mentor. Why I love this one, actually, I did this with Mara Winnick recently, and Mara basically said, you know what, you were able to accomplish with this in 10 to 15 minutes what it would take me over an hour in an appointment with, and it went and not and more thorough after students like in their second, third year. So this is a great tool for people to kind of explore different career paths. Does anybody want to just volunteer their name and answer some questions for me? Super basic.
Sure. Karis
Garrett, I
Johnson.
I knew I knew it was gonna be you. So okay. So gonna start off with your name,
Okay.
Karis. That's a little George the Bulldog right there. So your major is,
Um,
do you want to use your current, or do you want to go back to when you were an undergraduate? It's your call.
I'll do my current, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay. MBA with finance emphasis, right?
Yes.
I'm just going to jump in here one sec.
Yeah.
Anyone who has questions,
Oh
feel
yeah.
free to drop them in the chat or put up your hand, because this is meant to be interactive, and don't be shy about asking questions or to see something again. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So MBA with finance emphasis.
Okay.
Thanks. I don't know why it has in here. I'm gonna say no sustainability. It's been doing that recently, but it's okay. There you go. Okay. What have been some of your favorite classes or favorite subjects that you've had in the program, or just in general when you were in undergraduate?
I really loved there was a class that I took both in my undergrad and
Mhm.
graduate that revolved around like technology, but
Okay.
information, but it had a GIS aspect to it. And I
Okay.
really loved learning how to use Esri's GIS tools.
That's like, I don't know, information technology, we'll say like GIS as well. Anything else that
I learned a lot in a finance class where we learned about investments and stocks.
okay.
That was very informative. And then my hardest class was global finance.
Okay.
Really hard, but I learned a lot
Okay, great.
there.
Perfect. I think that's good. So
Okay.
that's good. Great. Do you know, this is like your Myers-Briggs, and this is kind of a divisive thing. So if you know what your Myers-Briggs is, it's 4 letters.
Oh.
And if you don't, that's fine. We can just describe your personality. And anybody who knows Karis, feel free to add in. I, I would
Um,
say you're fun, you're helpful,
yes, I definitely love to help. I think that's one of my favorite things about my job in
and
budget and
smart.
previously in finance support specialist is
Mhm.
being that person go to ask questions, whether it has to do with my department or not. I love
Yep.
to interact and
Hmm.
definitely help and find the answer. I
He's a
feel
good
like,
communicator.
oh, thank
Great.
you.
Absolutely.
I like to
To
have fun. I like to keep it fun in the office and laugh. Connections. Love my team.
Okay.
Um,
People
probably.
person. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. I think this is good. Anything else I think we missed?
I love analysis. I love, working on a puzzle in terms of
Ooh.
work and solving the problem.
Puzzle solve. Sorry. Solve problem. Okay, that's good. This is really good.
Actually, I found it. I knew I had it in my email. I am an ISTJ.
Okay.
And I'm organized.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna say IST or
Yeah, I am an
ISTJ
ISTJ.
for the last question. Okay, perfect. So this next question is going to be your preferred work style. Would you want to, or roles,
Mm.
specialized expert role, broader generalist role, leadership, create? I think you're a creative problem solver, but I think you can do just about anything. Which
Oh,
one
thanks.
stands out the most to you?
Okay. Specialized expert, broader generalist, creative problem solve support role. Oh, probably 4 and 5.
Okay,
Those I relate probably to those two.
let's do both of these here. Boom. This is the only kind of portion where there's a little bit of work that you have to do, copy and pasting.
Oh no, this is awesome. I like
You
it.
could, if you wanted to, put in the numbers, but then usually have to repeat them. So,
Okay.
um, let's talk about the type of company. What kind of size company would you want to work for?
Oh. I've worked for both. This is the largest company I've worked for. The last company was extremely small. I liked how intimate it was. But then the growth isn't there.
Yeah.
So something probably more medium
Okay.
sized.
That makes sense. Are you intrigued a little bit by where we're going with this?
Yeah, I'm so excited to see the outcome. But I love these kind of things where it kind
Yep.
of takes you and then gives you a direction on what to look and go for.
Totally. So, would you want to work fully remote, hybrid, on-site, different locations if your client flexible?
Mm, I feel like I'm flexible.
Yeah.
I don't think I could be fully remote. I like interaction. I
Yeah.
like to see people. But I have worked hybrid previously. I haven't really, my last job, I guess I did site visits, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty flexible.
Okay. Perfect. Let me check out the questions here. Oh yeah, here we go. Flexible location. Okay, now let's talk about how you want to collaborate with other
Mm-hmm.
people. Large, cross-functional, smaller, close-knit,
Mm,
one-on-one, independent,
mm.
mix.
I definitely like to be collaborative.
Mhm.
I would say, mm, maybe a mix, a little bit of
Okay.
both.
And by the way, when you go on and you create your own account and everything that you do will be saved, and you can go
Okay.
back and look at it and kind of and
Mm,
revisit. Um, we did like a soft launch on this, at the probably middle part of last semester. And just right now we're trying to check out, the usage patterns and everything.
mm-hmm.
So okay, fine. What's your preference for customer or client interaction? In person,
Oh.
over the phone, email, messaging, little to no?
Definitely a combination. Whatever I can do to
Yeah.
help them answer their questions at the quickest. So however I
I
can get a
think
hold of them.
most of our interactions, I just basically say, I trust you, whatever you think is the
I
best
know.
thing to
Yes, which I
do.
appreciate. That's awesome.
Now outside of school, what are some
Okay.
of the interests or your hobbies? Technology and innovation, arts and creativity, business, entrepreneurship, health, wellness.
Definitely probably 2 and 3.
Okay, let's do this.
I like I like the idea of being an entrepreneur, but I also want to get back when I'm done with school, I want to get back into arts and my creative side.
Perfect. So this is going to be the payoff. We're going to see now. This is going to give you 10 recommended careers for you, but you should
Ooh.
be looking into these because we want you to stay here. But for personal growth, right? Right. There you go. Okay. Ooh, innovation manager, analyst,
Oh,
investment banking analyst, GIS
look at
analyst.
that. Financial
So
analyst right on the dot right
look at
there.
that. Marketing strategist, product manager in tech. That's interesting.
Cool.
Business development manager, corporate social responsibility manager, creative director, sports marketing manager.
Oh,
So
I
you said financial analyst. That's the one that kind of
that's
caught your eye.
because that's what I'm currently am, so it totally hit
Oh,
the nail on the head.
perfect. Is there one on here that you want to learn more about?
Let's see. Definitely investment banking,
Okay. I think you can.
business development.
Okay. Let's
Project
start with
planning.
investment banking, right? So
Okay.
you're gonna take this and then you're gonna put it in here, and then it's gonna tell you a little bit more about that option.
Mm-hmm.
There's a career overview, a day in the life, what that looks like,
Mm-hmm.
the skills and traits that you might need for that. Here's the career path timeline. You begin as a, entry-level
Mm.
analyst, move into an associate role. Here's the success metrics. Here's the tools that you would need. Definitely need some advanced Excel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, familiarity with Bloomberg would be great. And here's how
Yeah.
you do, how to set up job alerts, all kind of like the tools and skills building. Now, let's say, oh, and so this question here is, would you like to explore more about this career path? Is there any path from this list that interests you more? Here are some future explorations. Like, let's say, like right here, let's go to, let's see, let's like long-term growth, what that would look like in this type of role. There you go. This is perfect.
Mm.
Associate level for 3 to 5 years, vice president 5 to 7 years, director at these type of roles. So let's say you're going to start off, and you're going to do associate. Let's go over here. Let's do, was it financial analyst?
Mhm.
So boom. Here you go. So imagine if you're somebody, you're trying to figure out what to do, you don't know what to do, and then you go through this tool, and then within literally, we started maybe 10 minutes ago, and now
Mhm.
here you are in a position where here's some potential roles
Cool.
for you,
That's awesome.
which is
Very
kind of
neat.
cool.
So
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, it's super fast. So now let's say, does anybody have any questions about this before I move on to the next thing?
And really feel free to jump
Yeah.
in, even if it's just like show me that first step again and
Yeah.
anything you'd like.
So let's say you find a job and now you want to apply to it. The next thing you would do would be to do this called the resume review mentor. So this is not going to be for you, Karis.
Mhm.
This will be me.
Yeah, you're welcome to use mine, but I'm afraid it'll just say, sorry, Allison, you're done.
I'll say sometimes, when you have yours for yourself, it's just going to have your name in everything. But since I'm using so many different names on this it will come out with say, hi, Karis. I says, no, Jim, my apologies, Jim. Here to help you. Let's get started, shall we? Yes. And what I'm going to show you now is like part of my favorite part about this whole tool. It says Karis again. Watch this. No, Jim.
AI does drink heavily starting at noon, so I need to remember
There you
this.
go. Okay, let's get started. What's your major and minor? I'm just gonna put MBA. Um, it's not sustainability. It doesn't matter. It says now upload a copy of your resume. So I'm gonna do. Here's my resume. You upload the resume, and you can see it's processing right here. When it's done, we'll be done here in a second. I'm gonna open up another tab here, and I'm gonna look at higher ed jobs. Okay.
Mhm.
You're
Go
not
on.
allowed to do this either, Jim. You can't leave. Okay. I'm
Okay.
starting to understand the problem with this.
Why this is going to be banned by employees, right? So I'm going to go in career development, career services. There are how many pages of there's 10
Wow.
pages. Karis, give me a number between 1 and 10 for I'll find something here.
7.
7? Okay, good. 7, Director of Professional Pathways. That sounds kind of equitable, right? So I'm going to get this. Let's go back to here. Okay, so it's done loading. Then the next thing it's going to ask me to, can you share a job title description that you want? I'm just going to go ahead and put in here hold on here. Oh, there we go. Just copy the entire job description. Copy. I'm going to paste it in here. And this is the coolest part. It's going to tell you how much of a match you are for this job.
Oh, wow.
So I'm an 85% match.
Cool.
And you can tell it's been reading my resume. It says leadership experience. You have significant, leadership experience, all these kind of things. This is what my strengths. Here's my opportunities to improve. Highlight data utilization, communication skills, and digital proficiency. So this would be the way to improve that. Emphasize data utilization. Add bullet points under your roles to showcase how you've made data-driven, decisions. And once you do that, if you can get this score up
Yeah.
to like a 90, above a 90, I'm sorry, Allison, you had a question.
No, I want you to finish that part because I wanted to talk about the score and how it
Oh,
plays out culturally,
okay.
because
Yeah.
based on, where you're coming from, you may
Yes.
think that, so just please bear in mind that all the biases um of the cultures we live in come into are baked into these, so that what's noticed is if you get a score of 85, chances are, or the research
Mhm.
bears out, that if you're a woman, you'll go, oh, I'm not a match, so I won't apply.
Yes.
Whereas, sometimes for again, according to the research,
A
if the
guy be
number,
like, I'm perfect.
yeah, I'm perfect. The guy's like, hey, I got 50%. I'm good, right?
Yes.
So I think one thing I would really recommend is really going over with Jim
Yeah.
this stuff, so he's got the expertise and can really help you sort of
Mhm.
navigate those the cultural landscape, if you will.
Yeah, and no, thank you for bringing that up. And why this score, why this is important is when you're applying to jobs and the companies are using it's called the ATS, the applicant tracking system. So they scan your resume and compare it to the job you're applying to, they pull all the keywords. That's the score that you get. You're an 85% match based on the technologies that the companies are using to basically filter out people. I've I've helped people, and when they get about a 92, 90, you don't want to have 100, because if you have 100, then they know you've gamed the system. And the way people used to get hundreds in the past, so you can fully digest this concept of how this is used, is that what they would do is they would take the job description, copy the job description, put it at the bottom of their resume in the tiniest ink and highlight that so it's in white so you can't see it. So when they apply for the job, they're 100% match. Now there's filters and you can't do that anymore. But so once you get over about a 92, 93, I've helped people and they get it there and then they literally will get a call like the next day
Wow.
for an interview. But just keep this in mind. If you get this up to, 92, 93% a score, does that guarantee you're going to get an interview? No, because there could be an internal candidate that they already know that they're going to hire. There could be, the son of the CEO's his golf buddy or something like that. It could get the job. But if you use a strategy like this and you tell people about this, and if you're super strategic with this, you don't have to send out a couple hundred resumes. You can literally do 15, 20, and you'll know. And also it's a good eye opener too. If you see on here the improvements and their specific skills that you might not have, oh my gosh, I need to get these skills to be more of a fit for this role. You could probably do the role, but as far as getting through that ATS, I think that is super important. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, So I love to use this tool, and I highly recommend everybody use this tool. Not here, I mean, for to leave here, but this is I think a big game changer. And the person that we created this with, his job, like 20 years ago, he was creating these ATS systems for the HR departments for large companies. So that's the first one, the career path mentor. Then you have this one for the to run your resumes through. Then, do we have any questions? Do we have? There's a bunch of questions here or comments. Oh
So
yeah,
in
same with
order
me.
to get your like your match grade higher, you would have to work with your resume to kind of more simulate the
Exactly.
job description. So depending on the jobs you're applying for, you might have a various amount of
Yep.
resumes.
Well, what I would say is that just work with us if anybody wants to. And I tell every student that your resume is about 85 to 90% done
Hmm.
when we wrap it up. That other 10 to 15% you would tweak and change based on the feedback that you would get.
Mm.
So let's say you get an 85% or an 85 out of 100. You know what? I'm a pretty good match for this job. If I can get over a 90, I'm a much better match. So if you're
Hmm.
applying to some place and you get an 85, you're like, okay, there's a good chance I could hear something or I might not. But when you're over
Hmm.
in the 90s, you're like, I'm a really good fit for this. If you get a 70 and and everything you're trying to do, you can't get it that much higher, then you kind of know. It's like, you know what? I might not be the best fit for that the way my resume is right now and what they're looking for. So,
Yeah.
so I think it takes away a lot of the anxiety and the head scratching and you know what, and the questions that people have when they're applying and seeing how, effective their resume would be. So,
Mm.
next thing, this is kind of really cool, would be the job interview guide, which is what I'll do is I can use basically the same.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
gonna jump in, Jim,
yeah,
one
go ahead.
sec.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just, while you do that, I just dropped in the chat the Writing Lounge recording on resume refreshers. Okay.
Oh, good.
Mm,
Oh, that's great.
awesome.
Um, what's your major minor? This one is a job interview guide. So let's say then you end up getting an interview. It's stuck on the sustainability thing. Please upload a copy of your resume, which I'm going to do right here. Okay, wait for that to be done. And then I already have this one copied. So let's say I end up getting an interview for this job right here. There we go. Copy and paste the role that you're applying for, or you're gonna have the interview with. Boom. Here's how to prep for that interview. Sample questions. How have you
Oh.
developed and implemented programs that support professional development for students? Basically, it's what the employer is looking for, experience in program development. Can you describe a time when you successfully engaged with underserved student populations? That's good. So once you kind of go through some of these questions, you'll have a really you'll feel super prepared. Like when I got the job here at Redlands, I went through ChatGPT and I took the job description. What questions could I expect? It came with about 20 questions. They asked maybe
Mhm.
3 or 4, but I felt super prepared.
Oh.
And then so that is the job interview guide. Here's one, and also it's called the internship project coordinator or creator. So if somebody, and let's say like, you're not getting any hits and you might need some more experience, you think, I need some really good experience. Maybe if I can just create an internship, work with a company, and just so I can put more stuff on my resume, you can use the internship project creator. So once again, it's to tell me your degree. It's probably gonna say something about sustainability again. I don't know why that's stuck in this thing here. Of course it does, yeah. Upload your resume. Of course, you got to do it every time, which is kind of a bummer, but we're getting through all the kinks here. It's still kind of in beta. And Okay, let's do done. Perfect. All right, now let's say what kind of a title would I want to do? Let's come up with a title of something I'm doing. Actually, no, how about this? For carrots, let's say I want to be, let's say you want to do wealth management. What was it? Was it wealth?
Yeah,
Okay,
I like that.
wealth, but it's going to use my resume, so it's okay. Wealth management. Boom. It's still stuck on the sustainable thing here. But I'm going to change it. It says nothing with sustainability, please. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But okay. Or we can actually, let's look at it, see what it says. Sustainability Wealth Management Initiative. Oh, this is interesting. The purpose of this project is to research and develop wealth management strategies that incorporate sustainable investment practices. Huh. The project's goal is to analyze current trends in sustainable finance, identify key performance indicators, so essentially, you would be creating this project for yourself with here's the intended outcome. By the end of the project, you should have a detailed report outlining your findings and a strategic proposal that a wealth management firm can implement. Here's who you can target. Mid-sized wealth management firms focus on sustainable investing. There's a local one, a small company. What's it? K&B, or I think that's the name of the company. Um, titles to target: the sustainability investment manager or wealth management advisor. And if you went to them and said, "Hey, listen, I have this idea that I'm working on. You don't have to pay me for this. If I can work on this and just work with some of your people." So a lot of people are going to say no, but if you can get one person to say yes, and you can put this on your resume, I think this even speaks more are better when you hustle and you grind and you create something like this, even over some like a real job, because it's going to show how creative that you can get, how much grit that you have, and how much work you're going to put into something before you even have a job. I think that is super
Very neat.
impressive, especially like in wealth management, for example, because it's all about hustle. It's all about grind. Right? So,
Very neat.
yeah, so these are kind of all most of the tools that we have here. Is there anything else? I'm gonna stop sharing. That anybody else wants to talk about, has any questions about, or just kind of the overall process?
You,
Is- oh,
Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
you may have shared this at the beginning. This is recorded. Will you be sharing this recording? Or is
this,
it posted,
yes,
you said?
it'll be at the redlands.edu/writing lounge.
Perfect.
So it'll be up there. Jim, I had a question. Is there something that can help when working on resume? I saw there was a resume.
Hmm.
Like, is there advice about how to rephrase, how to bring things in, focusing on achievements or results rather than
Yeah.
what? Is there some help there,
Yeah.
or does that just eliminate your job?
Well, by the way, here's the funny thing is that when I shared some of this that we're working on with this Redlands tools, initially some people are like, oh my gosh, is this making your job, just kind of irrelevant? And we've doubled our appointments this year with students because there's more engagement. And I know that some students, we can't get them out of their head, out of their screen, which is fine. I mean, so this just keeps them engaged. But to answer your question, I think that I'll answer it in two ways. The sweet spot for the resumes for the bullet points would be, some people just stop at the task. If you have a task, then you have a measurable or quantifiable, some kind of number in there, and then what that led to, or what kind of value that added to the organization. I would, and I've had students do this where they get the feedback from the resume review mentor, and then they take their existing bullet points or a section and put it into ChatGPT and ask, with these bullet points, how can I improve them to be X, Y, or Z? And here's a couple of examples of what I did. And then it might take you a few kind of iterations to get it right. And then with that, you change those bullet points, you put it back into the tool and to see if that changes your score any. And sometimes it does. And it's all about being strategic and having a plan instead of that just crossing your fingers and hoping that that somebody sees your resume. And then on top of that, this is really important. If you can reach out, if you're working with the company, if you have a target company or target position, go on LinkedIn, see who we know, connect with these people, because what's going to happen is, we love to leverage, the Redlands network, but when I'm helping people, I tell them, says, I want your resume to look so good that when you make that connection with this person, that it's a no-brainer for them. They're like, oh my gosh, I got this connected with this person. They're great. And they get it. And their resume is great and is killer. And it's not just like somebody's doing you a favor because you know somebody. My whole thing is you never want to give somebody an opportunity to pause moving forward with you. And to do that, you've got to have that resume, the good cover letter, the LinkedIn profile that's going to look great. So Brooklyn, you had a question. Brooklyn, I think you're still on mute. Oh, there you
Man, okay, all of the technology is failing me.
go.
I'm so sorry if this was answered already. I came in a few minutes late.
Oh, no worries.
Is this tool available to only students or alumni, people associated with University of Redlands, or is it
Right now, anybody associated with the University of Redlands.
Okay.
Maybe probably come fall, there's going to be kind of maybe a retooling of it, but we're not there yet. But if you're associated with the University of Redlands, you will have access to it in one way or another.
I've been playing around. I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And that's for alumni too?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's kind of a game changer, and you start just playing with it a little bit, and you find out new roles, new responsibility. I mean, and there's going to be some things that are going to pop up for like for jobs and roles that you never even considered before. And then you can go down that rabbit hole, and then when it comes time to, putting together a resume and applying to stuff, just please reach out to me. I don't know if we've done it yet. I'm going to put my email in the chat here.
Yeah, and I've added a couple of times that we're working off the site redlandstools.com. Even though that's a bit of an unfortunate, if you read it a little wrong, it's a little unfortunate. But
Exactly, not exactly to say yes. Yeah.
but everything is there. And then there's Jim's email address as well. And like I said, he's changed everything. It's definitely a paradigm shift here.
No, thank you. And I love to go through this with students and just do kind of, one-on-ones, and we kind of go through it, and then gets them thinking, and usually in a short period of time, I can predict a lot of how they're going to answer the questions. Yeah.
Also, I want to emphasize as well that one thing that's really great is that it's not just for brand new 22-year-old
Exactly.
undergraduates
Mhm.
who are graduating and trying to really begin their career path. These are great tools, and Jim is a great resource to help as you're pivoting. I know a couple of students who have just graduated who are mid-career,
Yeah,
and they're working with Jim to
they're awesome.
really figure out, I will not use the word pivot, but to reorient and sort of figure out the next way forward. And so even if you have a bunch of experience, this is a great opportunity to open up your thinking about what's possible.
Yeah. And then one quick thing I want to add is that, especially in the new age of AI and Chat GPT and all that kind of stuff, is that if you're not using these kind of tools and not thinking this way, it's a disservice, I think, to you, because I do talk to hiring managers, and they will say that they get more resumes that on paper look almost perfect, because other people can utilize different resources and different tools. So I think the table stakes are higher to how you present yourself in that initial application process.
Can I jump onto that also?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Is that in this, and I'm not just the humanities PhD saying this, because again, I use these tools all the time.
Mhm.
But I think what's really important as well is how you work with the product that you've been given as
Mhm.
a human. That's why I really recommend talking with Jim and his staff on how to make sure your humanity shines through these, because no matter how many digital services that screen you, you're always going to end up talking to a person.
Mhm.
And the more that you can feel that you're integral to these documents you've created, I think the stronger position you put yourselves in.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you have to, these are the tools and the skills to play the game of career. But just like you said, Allison, eventually that decision's made by person. So these are just the ways to kind of game the early portion. And then, if you want to, we can work on professional portfolios, those kind of things that when to submit those, your first 90-day plan, all those kind of things so you want to make it super difficult for somebody to say no. So I know, Brooklyn, you have another question.
I unmuted this time.
Oh, good.
At what point in researching career paths and career opportunities would it be appropriate to reach out to you for that kind of resume review and
Oh,
and tailoring and stuff like that?
I would say now. I mean, wherever you are is perfect. Just know that wherever you are in this phase is 100% perfect. And I'll make it fun as well. So because I want everybody to feel like they've got, a little bit of swag, a little bit of confidence as you go through this. Because I know it can be daunting, it can be overwhelming, but I would reach out to me today, tomorrow, whenever you want to, and we could just kind of start that conversation, because everybody's different. Everybody's journey is going to be a little bit different.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jim, I just threw in the chat asking people if they thought a writing lounge on crafting a really strong LinkedIn profile might be valuable. So
Yeah,
might do that one for June. I'm just getting a
I would
few
love
thumbs
that.
up there.
I would
Maybe
love that.
we can play together and
Yes.
okay.
And
Sounds great.
the best way that I like to use AI for LinkedIn is I talked with a guy who works for LinkedIn. He recruits for LinkedIn, and he said, I don't know, or maybe I'll just there's a little teaser for next time. But there's a really fun way I like to use AI for LinkedIn, which can and really separates everybody. So I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great. So we'll work on that and look
Yep.
for that in June. How's that?
Perfect.
And then we'll be taking a break on the writing lounge because Allison's going on sabbatical. So
Oh my God.
uh
You have a countdown clock?
oh, do I have a countdown clock? For the first times, I've had an email since 1989,
Uh-huh.
and this will be the first time I've put an auto reply on.
Are you kidding me? Wow.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there, but
No.
any final questions, thoughts, words of thanks to Jim to help us out here?
This was
Absolutely.
fantastic. I just want to say thank
Amazing.
you. Yeah, and
Yes, so
I really
good.
appreciate how you covered sort of all the stages of career life. So thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, reach out. Let's keep this conversation going individually with everybody. So happy to help.
Great. And you've got Jim's email, everybody. If not, just find me and I will get you in touch with him. And let's look forward to watching where your careers soar.
Right.
Okay. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank
There you go.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.